Doing something a little bit different with my channel today, and I'm buying a mystery box from Goodwill. Something that I haven't done before, but I spent quite a bit of money, and I'm going to see if it paid off or not. So let's get to it. So here is the mystery box that I got from the Goodwill online store, and as you can see here, went ahead and took off the label, but you can see that this is from Goodwill, from the online store. And even in the post, it said that the games that you're gonna actually get with this particular lot, you're not sure what they're going to be. There were a couple of pictures that you can identify just a few of the games for the most part, but there were stacks on stacks in the back that have no clue about if the amount of money that I paid is good or bad. So I paid $1,500 for this mystery box from Goodwill, and it's supposed to have 572 games. So let's get this open and see if I got some items that are worth a little bit. Definitely packaged it pretty good. Okay, so bunch of material here. So what I'm going to do is, so it looks like a couple of different stacks of games in bags. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna take all the games out of the bags here. See, there's a couple here of PlayStation 3 games, and then spread it out on the table based on what platform the game is on. So let me get all of the discs out so you can see what I picked up for this $1,500. So let's get all the games out of the box and on the table here. So here are the 572 games in neat individual stacks based on the individual systems that they're for. So the PlayStation is at the top here, Xbox is in the middle, and then Nintendo is at the bottom with a couple of bonus discs that I'm not really sure that go to a specific system. Let's start with the PlayStation first. PlayStation 1, and kind of work our way over to the PlayStation 4, and then we'll work on the Xbox through the Xbox One, and then the GameCube through the Nintendo Wii U. So let's get the first stack here, which is the original PlayStation. So I'm gonna go through these discs pretty quickly because I don't want this video to be a really long video waiting on each individual disc and talking about it. Unless it's a ton of value, I won't stop on it. But as you can see, there are some valuable discs, and I kind of put those on the top. As you can see, like the Simpsons game and some of the Transformers games and that have some value. Let's go through the first stack of PlayStation games. So Ridge Racer. And I'll just kind of stack them off to the side here. Looks like these are discs that kind of go together for Final Fantasy. So that's like disc 1, 2, and 3, and so on. So all of those. Crash Team Racing. A couple of copies of that. Road Rash. WCW, WWF, NCAA Final Four 97. That's an old game. Tarzan. Triple Play. Demira. Soviet Strike, which is a great game. It's also on the Sega Genesis. There's like Nuclear Strike and some other ones there. So far, just seeing the Crash Team Racing. Okay, this one has some value. The Die Hard game. Crash Team Racing has some value, which we saw a little bit earlier. Okay, so there's a demo disc. Gran Turismo 2. Looks like NBA Live 99. Just some sports titles there. Okay, so that's the first stack. We'll get through these pretty quickly because, like I said, there are 500 games and I don't want to spend a ton of time on each individual one. So Crash Team has some value. These are Final Fantasy games. Mega Man X4. NFL Extreme 2. Never played this game, so I might have to check that out. Wonder if that's like NFL Blitz or anything like that. .007. NASCAR. Okay, now this game actually has some value. It is like NBA Jam. This is NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC, and it reminds me of a like more modern version of NBA Jam that came out for the PlayStation, and I think it also came out for the Sega Genesis. Okay, Jet Moto has some value. Nothing that I see there. And make sure to comment below if you see some stuff that's actually valuable that I actually skip. Also comment some of these if you've played any of these games that you see here. Crash Bandicoot 2. Okay, there's some value. Mortal Kombat Trilogy has some value. Mortal Kombat 4 has some value. And that's it. Okay, no. Except for this. Extreme 3 has some value also. 3 Extreme, I think, is actually the name of it. There's 1 Extreme, 2 Extreme, and then I think 3 Extreme for the original PlayStation. So moving on here to the PlayStation 2. First stack of that one. Spider-Man had some value. Of course, the Senators. Okay, so this one actually has some value, and these are together. It's a double pack. Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories and Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories is a double pack that actually has some great value. If you haven't played those games, they originally came out on the PSP. Great games for Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar makes some of the best games available. NBA Street has some value. Harry Potter has some value also. Devil May Cry 2 has some value. Street Hoops, definitely a fun game. Doesn't have a ton of value, but it's definitely a fun game. Very similar to, like I said, the NBA Streets and things like that. Ninja Turtles, Sly Cooper 2 has some value. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 has some value. Okay, so a couple of games towards the end that have some value. Devil May Cry has some value. Jack and Dexter has some value. So far, a little bit of value in these. So Sims 2 Castaway has some value. Not a ton. Spider-Man 2 has some value. Batman Begins has some value. Never heard of a Bad Boys game, so I might have to check that out. Simpsons game, of course, has a little value. Moving on here to the next stack of PlayStation 2 games. So NASCAR, Red Dead Revolver has some value. It is Rockstar. So you've heard of Red Dead Redemption, the first and second one. That's the one before Red Dead Redemption. Great game if you've never played it. Definitely recommend it. If you're into westerns and things like that. Great storyline still. Moving on here. Okay, so there's one game that's in the trilogy. Batman Vengeance has a little bit of value. Some of the Final Fantasy games. NFL Street has value. And then 007. I sell these games for about $3 a piece, which I definitely should be able to get for the majority of them. Should be able to make my money back and then some. But as you see, there are some games that are worth $20, $30, even $40 in the stack. Or in the stuff that I purchased. So God of War actually has some value. The God of War game has some value. There's a couple of Manhunt has some value. That's another Rockstar game. Any of the Rockstar games, if you've never played them, definitely recommend any of those. As well as the NFL Street, NBA Street type of games, this is the snowboarding version of that. Recommend those as well. The arcade style sports games. Crash has some value. There's another one that's in the trilogy that we saw earlier. And then Twisted Metal Black has some value. Backyard Football. So that's it for the PlayStation 2. Moving on to the PlayStation 3. As you see on the top here, there's NBA Jam that has some value. And then the next stack, of course, is the Simpsons game that has quite a bit of value. Lego Lord of the Rings has value. This game actually has some value. I've sold this multiple times. This is the Grand Theft Auto 4, and it has the episodes of Liberty City in it. So it's 2 different packs in one disc. This game sells well for me every single time. So that's about a $20 game. Grand Theft Auto Blade Storm. Moving along through these. Hitman. GoldenEye. I'm not sure if that has a value, but I'm almost certain that it does have a little bit of value. And then the God of War collection for sure has value. Every single time. This game sells well for me also. That's it for the PlayStation 3 first stack. Moving on to the second stack here, which is Simpsons game. For sure has some value. Grand Theft Auto games still hold a little value. Definitely got my money's worth of $1,500. There are a couple of games, especially like the sports titles, that really aren't worth much, so I'll have to maybe bundle those or include them with a console or something like that I sell. But for the most part, the other games that are non-sports titles still have a little bit of value. I would say at the lowest, about $5 is the lowest value game that's in here. Should be able to sell them, even if I bundle them together, for pretty good. So a couple of these I might have to bundle to be able to get a little bit of value out of them. And then moving on to the PlayStation 4, which is the last stack of the PlayStation games: Crash Bandicoot, the trilogy, Cyberpunk, WWE. So a few games in here that are worth a little bit. There are some sports titles in here. So that's it for the PlayStation 4 and all of the PlayStation games at the top. Let me know if there's some disc in there that you recognize and that you would play. Moving on here to the original Xbox stack. First game on the top has some value, which is Mortal Kombat Deception, as well as Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Definitely some value in both of those games. Fusion Frenzy, another great game. It's a party game. It's one that I definitely recommend if you have some people that are at your house and you want to play on the same screen. It's definitely a game that is very fun. Kind of put you in the mindset of a Mario Party without the Mario character in it. The Grand Theft Auto San Andreas has a little bit of value. Gauntlet has some value. That's it of the original Xbox. Not a ton of original Xbox games. The Mortal Kombats have value. Now these Transformer games here still carry a little bit of value because they are just Transformers, and these, as they started making the later games and stuff, they started being a little bit better storytelling, transforming ability and stuff like that. So this Transformer game, which is the Rise of the Dark Spark, is still very valuable for the most part. And then any NCAA football or NCAA basketball has a little bit more value as far as sports titles because they stopped making these type of games. So you definitely want to pick up these if you're wanting to play some of the older NCAA. No word of the NCAA basketball. This is the first stack of Xbox 360 games. Don't see anything that's super valuable. I think these Xbox 360 games, they kind of throw those. This Saints Row has some value still. They kind of throw these Xbox 360 games in here because there's a ton of Xbox 360 games and you can bank on having something like that in your collection if you're buying a bulk of these games. Wrestling still holds a little value. Sleeping Dogs. Alright, first stack completed of the Xbox 360. Moving on here to the second stack. I would definitely say there's I'd say the most out of all of this particular lot that I got is definitely Xbox 360 has the most games kind of represented here. Another Transformers game. This is the Transformers Dark of the Moon. Has some value. Harry Potter still has some value for the Xbox 360. Now, again, this is another one, like I said, on the PlayStation 3 that sells very well for me. This is Grand Theft Auto 4 and then the episodes of Liberty City. That game still holds some value for me. It's $15 to $20 game. Mortal Kombat has some value. Like I said, make sure to let me know also if there's some games on here that I'm skipping that had some value, just so I can just be aware. And if you want any of these games, make sure to check out my eBay store. I'll leave it in the description box below. So another Rockstar game. Looks like that's disc 3. Hopefully the other discs are in here. Oh yeah, they are. So looks like the discs are kind of spread out. And then of course Grand Theft Auto 5. I think that actually had 3 or 4 discs. I can't remember, but I know there were quite a few discs on the PlayStation, or there were quite a few discs on the Xbox 360. So that's it of the second stack of Xbox 360 games. Moving on to the third stack. Now this game still has some value, especially with the disc, which is the add-on content for it. Has a little bit of value. Call of Duty still has some value. Black Ops. So the Grand Theft Auto looks like there's a bunch of the first disc, and then I've seen a couple of the second disc also. Saints Row has some value. Borderlands. So like I said, there's a ton of these discs, which is the first disc if I'm not mistaken, and then there's a second disc that is the install or something. Install disc. I think this might be the play disc or vice versa. Can't remember exactly. Like I said, just moving through these quickly so the video isn't 2 hours long. So there's what I'm talking about with the LA Noire, where it has multiple discs. Like I said, I think there may be 3 for the Xbox 360. Then on PlayStation, it's just 1 disc. So the last stack of Xbox 360 games. Never heard of Blade Storm. Looks very similar to like a Dynasty Warriors. I would assume that that's what it is. Don't see anything too valuable here. Viva Pinata. Pretty fun game. Left 4 Dead is a great game also. Have you guys ever played Left 4 Dead? Comment below, let me know. Or Viva Pinata. I know I mentioned that earlier. So this is what I'm saying. This is the play disc. So the first disc is actually the install disc, and this is the second disc of the Grand Theft Auto 5 for the Xbox 360. So have a ton of those, and they have a ton of these discs kind of represented here. So probably bundle those with a couple of Rockstar games and sell them as a bundle. Okay, so here is Red Dead Redemption, the Game of the Year edition. So the first disc, and then I think the second one is multiplayer, and then like the Undead Nightmare part of it. So those have some value. All right, so that's it for the Xbox 360. A little bit of value in those. Like I said, I should be able to sell these for about $3 and still be able to get my money back, plus about $200, and that's being conservative on these. A lot of these are worth quite a bit more than $2 or $3. So this is the Xbox One stack. Of course, all of the Grand Theft Autos still have a little bit of value. So this is disc 2 of Red Dead Redemption, so it looks like 2 copies of that. I do have a first disc, and this is going to be great to complete these. So excited about those, because I have the first disc that I've either picked up in a collection that I bought and things like that. So it's always great to find those discs. Okay, so it has Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remastered version on the Xbox One, Assassin's Creed, and then Tomb Raider. So a little bit of value in these. I'm definitely going to keep some of these for my collection, because I don't have them currently, some of these games. Alright, so it looks like we're getting into a little bit of the sports titles here. That's it for the Xbox One. So that's it for the Xbox One stack. So moving on here to the Nintendo GameCube. Not a ton of disc here represented, but there are a few SSX3, Freedom Fighters for the Nintendo GameCube, Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Spider-Man, and Finding Nemo. So moving on to the Nintendo Wii. Wii Play doesn't have a ton of value unless it's bundled with a controller with it. Should be able to get through these pretty quick. Definitely have a lot of Wii Play, looks like. Not a ton of value in the Wii game. Okay, Family Game Night has a little bit of value. Not a ton of value in these Wii games at all. That's kind of typical for the Wii. Not a ton of value unless it's like Mario or Wii Sports or something like that. Those games still sell pretty well. Okay, the first stack is done of Wii. Moving on to the second stack here. Alright, so Wii Sports has some value for sure. Metroid has some value. The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess has value. All these games right here have value. The new Super Mario Bros. Wii has value. Paper Mario. All these have value. Super Mario Galaxy. 007 has a little bit of value. Cooking Mama doesn't have a ton of value, but great game to play by yourself. It's just a fun game. So if you never played Cooking Mama, I definitely recommend playing that. So that's it of the stack of Wii games. Got to those pretty quick, and then there's just only a couple of Wii U games here. Super Mario Maker definitely has some value still. And then the Lego games keep up a little bit of value. Not a ton of value with this Jurassic World game, but definitely get it listed. And then Lego Dimensions, which I have some of the little portals that you can use for those. And then these were just some bonus discs. This is the bonus disc for, or bonus content that is, for Assassin's Creed 2. And then this is some a bonus disc or bonus content for Tom Clancy's End War. But that's it. 572 games. Definitely some titles that I've never heard of before that I'm going to be keeping for my personal collection. But for the most part, I should be able to sell all of this stuff, even if I just sold it for very cheap, just about $2 or $3. Should be able to get my money back with no problem, and then keep some of the ones that have some value and then sell the other ones that I already have. But I'm definitely going to keep the Transformers games because those are some games that I want to try out personally, and then I'll probably sell them afterwards. Might even keep the Simpsons game because I hadn't played that before. Definitely have the NBA Jam already, so I'll be getting that sold. But comment below and tell me if there's anything that you see that you've played or even want to purchase. Comment that stuff below. Tell me what you think. $1,500 just for quite a bit of inventory for my eBay business isn't bad at all. But that's going to do it for today. Make sure to comment below and let me know your thoughts. Also, make sure to check out my other videos on my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.